Persona 5X is not Atlus's first trip into the mobile gaming gacha space. They've done it before with SMT Liberation DX2. And Persona is no stranger to mobile game collabs, as they have had more than I care to count. Getting its own mobile game was a matter of time, and I'm honestly surprised it actually took this long. But the important question is for this game is, will it do well?
Why did you need me for this?
This topic should feel familiar to people, especially with the state of the gaming industry and live service game popularity. I'm not just here to talk about all the money Atlus could make, and how that influences the future of Persona games, though I will touch on that briefly. The reason I bring this up is, like I said before, to address the state of the industry. In recent years, there has been no shortage of live service games, and also live service game shutdowns. The record holder for a gacha game, as far as I know, still goes to Love Live School Idol Festival 2 Miracle Live, or something like that. The global launch for the game announced both the launch date and the shutdown date at the same time, which is a pretty funny thing to see, but also it sucks. Not because I really care about it, but because the people who do have they're on a clock. And if we're talking big AAA game shutdowns, it's Concord. I don't think I really need to introduce that. But the reason I want to talk about the expectations and the success of P5X is because we don't know how long the game is going to survive. If expectations are not met, it could close prematurely, and a lot of games have. It's not really a fun event to witness, because it's all too common in this industry.
30 million yen. Even after splitting it, we still each get 5 million!
And there isn't really an effective way to determine the overall total success for this game. Sensor Tower is one source that you could use to get a good estimate for revenue for gachas, but there really is no way to know for sure. There are some numbers that are not officially reported, and that makes it hard to determine for sure how well these games are doing. A lot of big publications use Sensor Tower, but I imagine that's not specifically for gacha games. A lot of this is going to be speculation. There's just information we don't have and we probably will never have. So we have to take that into account when talking about this. But to get to the meat of it, P5X, as far as I can tell, is doing decently. The game debuted in April of 2024, making upwards of $12 million. May rolls around and this drops pretty significantly, but that's not uncommon for most gachas. Usually the first release month is where it's going to do the best. June, July, and August roll around. The trend for money is to go down over time, especially for this game, but it should occasionally spike up, as this game did with the P3R collab. Upwards of $1 million a month is not bad at all. However, since we don't know how much the game costs to run, and how much it costs to develop all of this stuff, it's hard to gauge as well. And Western spending is kind of hard to estimate. Global, for a lot of games, tends to net overall higher profits than China, but that's global. P5X has region locks, and has also only been advertised as an English/Western launch. Spending will most likely be lower overall because of this. And none of this factors in PC data sales, and Android from China is also not officially reported. So it's hard to say for sure whether P5X is gonna do well or not.
Holy shit! It's gonna be deluxe pork soup combo for me from here on out!
You have to think bigger than that.
The success of several gacha games has also brought more success and more budget to bigger AAA games. As an example, Psy Games made Grand Blue Fantasy, which enabled them to create games like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. And Fire Emblem Heroes likely paved a decent path for Fire Emblem Three Houses. There are probably other examples, but these are two of the ones I think that are the most obvious. What I'm saying here is that in theory, the success of P5 Gacha could lead to better products down the line for Atlus. But of course, we'd likely be waiting a lot longer for results for that. Persona 6 should be on the relative horizon, so it would probably either be during future spin-offs or mainline titles that we would see the success of P5X, assuming it is successful enough. Priority number one is still maintaining the game, and P5X is more than just your average mobile game. The rate at which content is published is insanely fast. The The fact that the game is already on 4.0 in China should make this pretty obvious, and even though version numbers don't mean a lot of gacha games of this caliber are pushing out content on a monthly or even month and a half basis, and P5X prior to the 4.x cycle was cracking out this kind of content every 2 weeks, to the point where it was almost overwhelming to play the game in my opinion. And we've kind of moved to a 3-week cycle, but the fact that we've gotten 2 whole story arcs since the game launched kind of goes to show that they really do understand that the main drawing point of Persona games is the story, so they've made it their #1 priority. And development for this is probably not cheap, and likely going forward the priority for most of the money is going to be to make this game better. Success means a lot, but it's up to them as developers and publishers for this game to produce a product that is good, and it's up to us to decide whether we think that product is actually worth spending money on. This video is not for me to say, hey, if you want P5X to survive, you better spend money. That's not what I'm going for. I understand that it might technically be true that people have to spend in order for the game to survive, but it's important to think about your purchases and make the decision if you believe that they are delivering the quality that you want, and if it is affordable to you.
I am thinking about the future, though.
So to answer the question I prompted at the beginning of, will it succeed? Yes. I think Persona 5X will be moderately successful, at least for a decent period of time. However, time is going to be the biggest thing bearing down on this game as well. One thing about these gacha games is that their biggest enemy is growth and change within the gaming industry. Persona 5 is admittedly on its way out. That's not to say that people will ever tire of the Phantom Thieves, but more to say that the demand and desire for Persona 6 is continuously rising. And if P6 somehow manages to bring Persona to a whole new level of game, then it will be much harder for P5X to thrive. On a personal level, I think it would have been more future-proof to brand this game as Persona instead of Persona 5, so that you could pull concepts from different games and different titles, instead of another metaverse Phantom Thief adventure. But what's done is done. I do have high hopes for this game, whether you believe me or not. I also have several criticisms that I will save for a video that's more about the game and less about the money. One thing I do have to note is that they are generally pretty generous in this game, and that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It really depends. So you can let me know if you think that this game is going to succeed or not in the comments down below. As always, you can leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlas, and JRPG. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.